Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Guys see that Bruins game tonight?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Looked pretty good in the middle of the second, right?
Who was?
Devils. They looked pretty good until the middle of the second.
Up until they let 5 unanswered goals in. Up until
Yeah.
Vitek Vanacek couldn't stop a fucking beach ball. Up until, what? They can't even fucking get line changes done correctly anymore. We like, this is just... They are the poster boy of inconsistency, and I'm tired of it. I seriously am fucking angry right now at just that performance. But yeah, I'll cool down. You guys go.
See, Chris has got the same back-to-back problems as the Devils. I see you do 2 shows in a row. He's just
Well,
falling
this
apart.
is the thing, man. It's fucking Sybil out there, right? Like, they go out and they play a great game against Ottawa. One of the best games that we've seen them play all year. And we come on and we're happy about it and we're praising this team. I don't think realizing, or at least not taking into account, that Ottawa's dog shit, right? And maybe we should have, but we were just happy that, hey, look, 3 in a row again, looking like things are trending upward. Dawes comes in, plays good. Vanacek had been playing good. And then he goes out there and just shits the bed again. And you have a 2-goal lead. Like, you're up 2-0 against the Boston Bruins. You should have controlled that game. But what happened? They started getting physical with us in the second period, and we fucking fell apart. Because that's what this team does.
Changed.
Yep,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
we fell apart. And that Shattenkirk goal on that Vanacek let through, like, I'm sorry, dude. You're a professional goaltender. You get paid millions of dollars to stop that puck. And Dan could stop that puck, and he's got bad hips.
Yeah, with my bad hips, I could have.
With his bad hips, he would have stopped it. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. Like, I'm tired of Vitek Vanacek, and I'm tired of Lindy Ruff. I'm tired of these guys just getting injured constantly. Like, we don't know what's happening with Timo. He might be gone again. It's just so inconsistent, and I blame the coach on this inconsistency. I'm tired of it. This was a crap effort. Once Boston started laying the body, we crumbled like freaking blue cheese. But go ahead, boys. Tone, go ahead, buddy.
I don't know. I'm not surprised we lost tonight. I mean, I kind of was hoping for the best, but I'm not as angry as you are. I get it.
I'm not surprised. Real quick.
I get it.
I'm sorry. I'm not surprised they lost. I'm surprised at the way they lost. Go ahead.
Yeah. Vanacek, there was a couple he could have stopped. I do agree. I don't blame the whole thing on him at all. I thought, just like you said, the change was obvious, right? When they started getting physical, that game was done. It was, and I know, like, I sound like a broken record, but not a surprise, man. Right when I saw it going on, I just, we don't have that answer.
I thought when they were reeling after, still being up 2-1 and haven't had, any possession of the puck in like 5 straight minutes, they needed a break. They needed to ice the puck. I mean, when it started tilting, they were icing the puck and like trying to regain control. But after a while, they were just, I don't know, waiting for something else to stop the clock and get them that TV timeout to regroup. And they didn't do it. They had several chances to, just, okay, play smart, play desperate, do what you got to do to just not let a goal in, regroup. And they couldn't do that. And when they gave up that tying goal, I just saw what the rest of the game was going to be like.
Yeah,
I saw
we knew it was over when it was 5-3. That was done. You knew that was pretty much.
I knew it was over when it was 2-2. I
when
just
it was
felt
2-2,
like when they tied it at 2-2, I said, "Here they come in bunches."
Yep,
and they did, and we ended up being down 4-2, okay, maybe come back in the third period, regroup. This team can do a comeback. Definitely, it's 2-goal deficit, but they didn't look like they had it. They looked dominated from there on out, and it was unfortunate.
I was actually pretty confident that they would get another one in the third and that we were not going to score. And that's exactly what happened. I said, they're going to press and they're going to get a couple of opportunities and then Vanacek's going to let another one in. Ball took the penalty late in the game. That's unacceptable. You can't take a penalty down 2 goals with 4 minutes left. This was just this type of game. Like, this is one of the best teams. If you really want to be considered one of the best teams, you got to go out there and go into their building and play. And it started out great. Like, they were on top of everything. And then again, it switches. And once this team gets, I guess, on its heels or just kind of caught off guard with physicality or whatever, they cannot gain control back. They just can't. They're incapable of it, which is crazy because of the firepower that's on this team, that they should be able to. And they didn't. And when it was 2-0, like, does Lindy Ruff know that you, as a coach, you have timeouts? Because, that is the time to use a timeout. You just gave up the tying goal. It came quick, bang, bang. You see the team, look, we've all seen the script, right? They come in bunches, like Dan said. We've seen it a million times. You got to call the timeout there. You got to get this team, to calm down, whatever the case is, whatever you have to do, and try and go back out there and stay in this game. And it just doesn't happen. Bob, what do you think?
Well, generally speaking, these back-to-backs are a little harder to assess because the reality is they are difficult. What makes this game particularly perplexing is the fact that they did come out with a 2-0 lead, which is a really good sign. The things you guys pointed to as to when the game turned, that's obvious. I don't need to even address that anymore with the physicality and all that. But when you do have the 2-0 lead, it's okay on the second leg of a back-to-back against a team such as Boston to change your game a little bit. Sit back, trap, if you will, do whatever it takes. Play safe, play small.
Really nice, boring game, right?
Didn't really do that. Got way thrown off their game, like you mentioned. I do have a big problem with the goaltending tonight. And again, like Tony said, I will not lay it all on V. But the difference, what we saw last night, even if it was a shitty team, was at least that one more save, which is all we've been talking about. And in this particular game, and I think Dano and them were talking about it too, like that fourth goal, Shattenkirk's first, stop that one. Keep it 3-2. It just feels better, even though it did kind of have that doom and gloom to it already with the tying goal. I agree with that. But it's like one big save, one big anything. So a tough one. And then you sandwich it around the fact that the third period, they outshot the Bruins. I think they outshot the Bruins for the game. And so they did. There were parts of this game that looked good. The other side of that too is also, I don't know, that second goal on Allmark. I think that's, you don't usually get that either. So for all intents and purposes, this is more like a 5-1 game.
Right.
Well, look,
bigger problems with this game too, guys. Look at Meyer. We don't know what's up with him now. He left the game. This is the stuff we didn't need to happen. I know there's our miss today, but he'll be back. I believe they just basically gave him a couple extra days with the 3 days coming up off. But the Meyer thing worries me because he just started really playing. Producing.
Finally started rolling, right?
Yeah, that's how it works, though. Like I said, last year we didn't deal with that shit. This year we are getting handed it in doses.
Look, every team does. I get it. It sucks, but every team has to deal with injuries. It comes down to, if you're a really good team, you roll with the injuries. You deal with you let your depth really come up, and you get through it. We look at the Rangers. They lost Adam Fox for 10, 11 games. I think they lost 2 games without him. One of the best defensemen in the league. Like, you have to be deep, and your other guys have to step up. It sucks, and I hope Meyer's not hurt. But we are completely plagued with injuries, and we have been all year, and I think that's just how it's going to go this year. But there's just so much that I find. Like, why is Colin Miller not playing? Why is he still a healthy scratch? Like, I'm just confused about shit. Like, I
know he scored last night, but what do you guys think of Smith? Have you come to peace with him being on this roster every chance he's healthy, or would you like to see something else happen?
Does he, I don't know, does Lindy Ruff owe him a lot of money? Does he have, naked pictures of Lindy? What's going on with this that he's constantly in the lineup?
I mean, he scored a pretty goal last night, but he also took a couple dumb penalties. He came out of the box and scored that goal.
Well, right, because how else is he going to score a goal?
Exactly.
Coming out of the penalty box.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, all right, he scored a beautiful goal. It's all everyone was talking about in the pregame. With beautiful
a couple of bad penalties.
It took 2 fucking years.
Yeah.
Problem is, if we take him out of the lineup, we have no muscle. They'll be beating us up before the game.
That's an excellent point. I mean,
but do we
honestly,
well, we have none. Besides him, we have nobody. They could just do the pre-warm-ups. They might as well just come over and start smacking us around.
I don't agree with that at all because I don't think we have it with him. I mean, what is he doing that he's our muscle?
I don't know. He
has a couple of times we've seen him in these games where he can hit and everything, and then other times he just doesn't do it. This team refuses to hit.
Bad time to do it and get a penalty.
Yeah, he just takes dumb penalties, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm. Again, I don't think that Lindy Ruff is doing a good job with this fucking team. When you are constantly giving up these cluster goals and this is the coach's job, is to get this team prepared to play in every possible situation. And I don't know if, like we've talked about it a million times, like I don't know what the system is. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know what he's asking of these guys that's not working. But this is getting crazy. Like you let one
pull during that game. You mentioned a timeout. You're 100% right. It could have been a couple places where you would have put a timeout and to stop the bleeding, regroup. And then you always have the move of pulling the goaltender.
I was just going to ask you: would you have put Dawes in for the third? Because I would have.
I don't know that it would have made a difference, but I think it could have. And looking back, how they didn't respond, it's something you should have done. And at least give it a try.
I wouldn't put Dawes in on the third is because I think that I knew we weren't going to win this game in that second period, and I think the risk of him getting shelled in that third and then having these 2 goalies carrying over the next 3 games into the next with that broken confidence. And I thought about that in the second period because I was like, man, they should pull Vanacek. I don't like. Do you really want to put Dawes in there? Because what if this is going to be one of those nights? Because we are playing a great fucking team tonight, and we did get 4 out of the 6 points, which sucks that we lost tonight, but we are playing a damn good team who we did beat last time. So,
but why would you not have put Dawes in? I'm just curious.
You know what? If he would have got the flow of the game tonight after that second period, you knew the Devils weren't all there. Now, what if he gives, Dawes gets shelled for 4 goals in the third period. Now you're going to go into the next game with this. I think next game you put Dawes in to start the game. Clean slate, 3-day break. I think it's just more.
I hear you. I just think
I do, but I don't agree with Dawes.
You throw that one out. You came in to relieve Vanacek. You knew the whole team was playing like shit there. You're going to get your next start. And I don't think that we have to worry too much about that.
And maybe you light a fire in this team, and you come back in the third, and you do something. When a goalie gets pulled, and it's not 100%. Everybody takes responsibility when the goalie's pulled, and maybe these guys come out with a little bit of fire, and they have a different third period. The Shattenkirk goal.
How do you cure what they did to us? How do you? If we can't step it up physically, they just took us out of that game in that second period. It was just
I'm talking about the third period.
You just saw that team had just got Toffoli was getting. I mean, Toffoli was having trouble. He was getting knocked around. Zaka plowed him. We didn't have. I don't know. I mean, how do you? It's hard to
when these guys. But look, I just
they have the speed.
You can't be a head coach, and if Lindy Ruff was even thinking a little bit like that, then he should be fired immediately. We're not going to win tonight, so what am I even going to bother for? I mean, that's not. They were playing us better, but you got to find every possible spark that you can do as a coach to get your team going. And I would have put Dawes in the third. It was, so what he played yesterday? It's 1 period. Put him in for 20 fucking minutes. He's only played 4 games in the last, year.
Well, my thing was nothing to do with him playing yesterday. It was just the way that the game was going tonight. It was nothing to do with him playing yesterday.
Yeah, but maybe you can swing that. Maybe you can turn that tide a little bit by putting the goalie in. I just that's a tool that the coach has, and he didn't do it. And I don't know.
I think tonight would have warranted that, and it would have been a case of no harm, no foul if it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last game before again a lot of days off.
True.
It is a good spark, along with coming out and having lines changes or anything that you can do just to kind of reset the tone a little bit. And frankly, I think it would send a message to V that you are expected to make that save. Like, we were bleeding, we needed somebody to stop it. just for 1 second. And sometimes you gotta, just let the kid roll with it and see how he does. And if he does let in a few, now you get to see how his psyche is about it, because you are trying to get a look at this kid. So give him all the scenarios. If you want him to be your future, he's going to play Boston.
I didn't like Vanacek's game even before they scored the tying goal. He was actually beat on 3 or 4 scenarios that ended up being wide shots. Mm-hmm. And he looked a little out of position, a little behind the play. It was not his best outing. And I don't think he made any great saves to, get them that 2-0 lead. It was just a matter of Devils had possession. And once it came on in our end, he was average at best. He was not spectacular. And he was actually, on that 4th goal, especially below average. And I think that's,
And I believe that
particular game.
Vitek Vanacek, like last night, like, we won by 4 goals. But if Vanacek or Schmid, with the way that they have played a lot this year, I mean, maybe we win that game in overtime. Maybe we won by 1 goal. But Dawes did what we hadn't seen a goalie do all year, and that was come up with some big saves.
And we talked about last night, that speculation on our part that it would have laid out that way, but we have got the history of the season to suggest it.
Right.
And, I mean, there was a couple of clear, one-on-ones that he stopped that I don't have the confidence right now that our other 2 guys would have.
No.
They do occasionally, of course. They're not letting in 10 a game. But there was a comfort level with Dawes last night, and we're not anointing him anything.
No, and as I watched
there, you can feel it if you were in tune with that. I was
thinking he was benefiting from not having played with this team. Like, believe me, I want Dawes to play more. I'm as upset as anybody about the way Vanacek and Schmidt have been playing this season, but I feel like this team will grind down anybody if you give them enough time. And I am concerned, like, after that win, I could see it. It seemed very familiar to 2 years ago when, like, somebody come in and be like, all right, he's our guy. It's like, and then he's not. And it's not really the goaltender. It's the team, and it's the combination between. And Lindy, for all his faults, he did say something in the press recently that it's been a 2-way street of failure with the goaltending situation. That's absolutely true. I agree with him 100% on that. And I do think that, of course, this team can benefit from that breath of fresh air of a goalie who doesn't feel it coming, feel the next 4 goals coming because he sees the way this team's playing in front of him. You see those little signs and you start repeating this past scenarios in your mind, the negative ones and the positive ones. And we have strung a bunch of negative experiences together. I believe that if Nico Dawes plays enough with his team, he could be susceptible to that too if we continue playing this way, which is, not a foregone conclusion. But at this point, as we do the last game of the season, looks like this is the way this team's playing the season. So, you got, in some ways, you're kind of used to it and unhappy with it, and I get it. But all is not lost yet. The question that I don't have an answer to is what changes? What is it going to take to make this team play up to its potential? And I don't think really anybody I've heard has a great answer for it where it's like, bingo, that's it. I don't know. I mean, everything's a bit of a gamble, whether we're talking about replacing Lindy Ruff or we're doing some other big drastic move. I don't know.
But do you think trading for a defenseman is a big drastic move? I mean, trading for a goalie, I would think, is a big drastic move. Like, and I think that if Vanacek, continues in the next 2 to 3 weeks of playing like this, and hopefully it doesn't happen. What you're saying with Dawes, I mean, hopefully he can maybe steady the ship a little bit.
Maybe,
and I like to think that it might go
that
it might go the other way. That maybe when you have a goalie and he makes those big saves, that the guys, all right, we don't have to press so hard. We know that if we make a mistake, the guy's going to bail us out.
Two-way street and positivity too. Absolutely
right. So I hope that that's the way it goes. But we have seen this with Vanacek now all year. It's just inconsistent, and there's not a Devil fan. I think if you polled 100,000 of them, 100,000 of them would tell you they do not trust Vitek Vanacek to go into the playoffs as their goalie. And that's even if we make the playoffs. Because
you got to be insane to feel confident. Yeah, any of the goaltenders at our disposal going into the playoffs, including our most experienced goaltender, Vanacek.
Luke Hughes, though, again, man, grows on me every game. That guy just impresses me more and more, though.
He's fantastic.
Incredible talent.
Just 7 goals now. I think the closest to him is 5 in defenseman for rookie defenseman.
I'll tell you, he keeps going like this. It's going to be up to him and Bedard for the Calder this year. I really believe that.
I mean, Bedard's running away with it in points, of course. I know, but there's more to it.
It's a bad year for
There's a lot more to it than points.
So, Dan, did you hear the show last night?
I did not hear the show.
So, just curious, we did talk about how Jack and Quinn maybe said that Luke might be the best of the three of them. And we talked about it last night. Like, how mind-blowing is it to think that we could live in a world where Luke Hughes on this team is better than Jack Hughes in a couple years?
I think it's so great that they
Isn't
are
that
different
insane?
positions because we'll never fully get the answer to that because, but you're absolutely right. Like, he may go down as one of the best defensemen ever. It's possible. It's so early. It's hard to tell. I think both these guys got to get on a team that can really, do it for them. And it should be our team right now. I'm just saying they got to find a way to make it work because we got so much talent. It goes even beyond those two guys, but those two guys on your franchise is an amazing story. I mean, and
we do have to take we do have to look at some positives too as an overall. I mean, we have played much better for a long period of time now. Our record indicates it. Our overall wins record, points, where we sit in the standings, all those things are good. Today sucks. We have a break. We have a very winnable week, at least in terms of more points won than lost coming up. And this could be another scenario where a week from now, we're talking on Saturday, maybe they win 2 of 3, maybe they win 3 of 3, and the Boston game becomes a little bit more of that acceptable blip because it was the back-to-back, which we now know the Devils just cannot win.
Right.
Even with a 2-goal lead.
It's a second stretch of 3 out of 4 wins, which is not bad, right? 75% on the last 8 games is pretty damn good.
Right.
You see, you're right though, Bobby. They'll come out, maybe they'll beat these, the next 3 games they'll win, and a week from now, tonight doesn't look so bad, but it is. This is how you are playing these teams that are above you in the standings. They are the elite. They're the Rangers, the Bostons, and stuff, and they're not just beating you; they're kicking the shit out of you.
It's the way they're beating us, and they're all doing it the same way, and we're allowing it.
And
physicality.
And again, they fucking tricked me, right? They completely tricked me. I'm okay, this is where they're going to turn this corner, right? And they're pulling the fucking football away right when I'm about to kick it. So much so that I went out and bought a couple of tickets to the Devil game today. Take my son up January 22nd. I'm going through the schedule and I'm looking and I'm like, who haven't I seen live? There's probably only, and I went through 3 teams that I have never seen live, right? So I get tickets for Vegas. This better not be that game better not be like tonight where Vegas just completely rolls us.
It can happen. I hope not, but it can happen.
Oh God. Did you guys ever think about that? How many teams have you not seen live?
Yeah. There's a bunch, but mostly West Coast, of course.
I would actually really like to know. And what sucks is, remember, years ago, you would get the ticket, and that was like a souvenir, right?
Yeah.
Tickets. Now, little did we know they got disappearing ink, right? Now they're 40-some years old. You can't read the damn thing at all. But I would love to look back and see what teams I actually haven't seen, because I really don't remember, other than current expansion teams.
I think
I got most of them.
I went through it today. There was only 3 that I can think of that I've never seen, and that's of course Vegas, Seattle, and Winnipeg. I think those are
Vegas is for me.
All right,
I don't remember seeing San Jose.
I know I've seen San Jose. I think I've seen San Jose a couple of times.
I'd be really interested in looking at that myself.
I know I've seen West Coast teams: Colorado, Dallas, LA, San Jose.
Was there any games you guys were at that's how would I put it? A highlight that you see all the time that you were actually at that game that you the
6-shot shutout to clinch the playoffs against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
The second round.
Yeah.
Could get us into the finals.
Only gave up 6 shots, Yep.
That was a heck of a game. Yeah. We were there. Trying to think of ones that they talk about a lot. Not really. I was never at cup winning game or anything like that. Which would have been awesome, especially in 2000.
A lot of round winning games, but I never.
Yes, a lot of clinchers, a lot of clinchers in the playoffs. Yep. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. We do have accountability. You guys want to do it?
Yeah, you got to remind me what we asked for.
Oh, I'm not the only one.
That's
That's
what I
no
will do.
idea.
This is for the last week, so the last 3 games. So tonight against Boston, the Senators, and the Columbus Blue Jackets. I will go through and do mine.
So we all made
first.
predictions, in case anybody hasn't heard.
Yes, I'm sorry. We may each make 3 predictions about the week ahead, and we give a point to a correct answer. If it's like a 2-leg parlay or more, we give you a hat trick. You get 3 points for it. Right now, Tony is pretty comfortably in the lead, and we'll go over the points when we're done. So I haven't scored a point in the last 2 weeks, and get ready, boys, because I'm going to keep that thing going. I said that the Devils will be 100% on the penalty kill.
That was a bold
Close.
statement.
You were close.
They were until tonight.
Yep.
I said that Simone Nemec would get the game winner against the Ottawa Senators. That was
That was going to be a 3-pointer, right?
Dawson
'Cause that's-
Mercer.
Yeah.
What's that?
I mean, that's very specific. We were going to give you 3 points if you got that.
Yes, that was a hat trick,
Yeah.
and so was the 100% on the penalty penalty.
Right, so the
kill.
way it works is if you make some kind of really specific call, we'll give you 3 points
Right.
instead of 1.
And I also said that the Devils will get the first goal in all 3 games this week. So once again, I'm 0 for 3.
That was close.
All right. We'll go to Dan. Dan said the Devils will have a shutout this week.
Every week I say that. And
Yeah.
every week I'm wrong.
You said that Timo Meier will lead the team in points this week.
It was close.
I think it was Jesper.
Yeah.
You said that the Devils will have 3 power play goals over the next 3 games. That was correct. They had 2 last night. They had 1 tonight. I don't know if they had any against Columbus. I don't think so, right?
I don't
Don't
remember.
recall.
All right, Tony. You said that the Devils will beat the Blue Jackets and the Senators, and they will lose to the Boston Bruins.
Genius.
Very good, Tone. There's 1 point for you. You said that the Devils will not have a shutout.
Yeah, I like that. That's always a good
Hey,
call.
bets.
You
I mean,
said
think of how many
that.
points you would get if you just always made that call, because they haven't had one yet.
Just
Nope.
get a point a week.
You said that Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, and Eric Holla will all score in 1 game this week. Okay, there we go. So you got 2, Tone.
Good.
That's
Good.
At least you
great.
took one that was a little difficult.
Yeah, he is check down Charlie,
You
isn't
know,
he?
Bob,
up,
you say
layup?
that, but I remember 2 weeks ago you had some predictions there.
What's up, layup?
I don't think I take easy
The
ones.
worst part
at all.
was I think I was trying to make a couple layups and people objected.
Some empty
Yeah,
letters.
that's right. You're not allowed.
Meanwhile, Tony's got
This
these
is
layups.
Tony's game.
That's all right. He's pulling
Now-
ahead and he deserves it.
Bobby said that the Devils will get the first goal in 2 out of 3 games.
Shit, I didn't even get that.
Nope.
That looked like a
You
good bet.
said that
Yeah.
Johnny Gaudreau would have a goal,
Fucking, he even pisses me off when he doesn't score.
and you
Right.
said that tonight's game would go to overtime.
Maybe with a goaltender.
Damn.
So that
Bullshit.
for the season now, that puts us at. Tony is getting
Tony's not gonna
comfortably
be
in the
caught.
lead here.
He's not going to be caught.
Take it off again.
Well,
I just
he,
feel
he can definitely
No,
be
you can
caught.
catch up.
I
He's
mean,
just
all you have to
hat-tricks
do
and
is
score
take
and shit.
stupid predictions like the Devils
Yeah, but I
will
can't
put
stop
ice skates
predicting that
on in the
shutout.
game on Wednesday.
I'm always going to give away one just because I can't stop.
Eventually, you
predicting
have
the
to get it.
yeah,
Well,
but
the
I'm going
question
to
is-
lose like how many more weeks until
Well,
that happens?
The question is, if they get the shutout, do you
Yeah.
stop making the prediction? We were
I think
talking
I
about
finally
that.
should get 3 points for that. When it
Oh no,
finally-
no! I was going to give you 6.
If
Yeah,
it's
when
the
it-
last week of the season.
I can
yeah.
stop. I can stop making that prediction once they get it because
Okay.
what I'm really afraid of is not predicting it, and then that's the fucking week they do
I'm
it.
with you.
So I'm
Can't
doing this
stop
out of
now.
fear. Out of fear.
I understand, but it's also going to be a 6-pointer for you.
Okay,
All right, we're going to double it, double
Okay.
the hat trick for you.
that's how
They
sure
get
you
the
are. It's not
shutout.
going to happen.
And then I
Yes.
get half of those points for agreeing.
Tony has the lead
All right.
with 12 points.
Handing out points like
Dan
donuts
is in
around
second
here.
place with 8 points. I'm
All
in
right.
Why we give him
Third.
possible 6 points then on a shutout if he's in second place? Now I
Yeah,
object.
that's true. I need 6 points.
He's going to get 6 if they
It's the
get
only
the
way to
shutout.
take the lead.
I have 7 points. Bobby has 4 points. Way to go, Bob.
I am very aggressive with my
One of
picks.
those points, Bob, you got given to.
Well, that may be so, but I'm still a fun guy. So.
All right. So this week we have the Washington Capitals, the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Vancouver Canucks. We'll go around the horn. Bobby, you could start first. What is your first prediction for those 3 games, buddy?
Any time to actually maybe possibly change my first one now because of some news today. So let me skip up. I'm going to say on Friday against the Blackhawks, Jack Hughes will score 2 goals.
Against the Blackhawks?
Yes.
That's really funny because one of my predictions, you'll see it. Okay. Dan, we'll go to you. What's your first prediction?
Nico Dawes will get 2 starts.
Why you fuckers?
I was going to go that too. I knew that was coming.
First one, V will only start against Chicago. So
The best part is I didn't even write any down.
Well, yours is more specific, so you can vote in that.
Nico will get 2 starts. So my first one then is that V will only get the start against Chicago. So I don't know. I might change that one. I'm going to go back to that. Tony, your first prediction, buddy.
The Devils will not win or lose another game this year.
He's going for the total layups. I love it.
Wait a minute. Don't they have to play to make this happen?
Nico Dawes will get a shutout in the next 3 games.
Ooh, that's going to trump Dan's shutout pick.
I don't know.
You know what? I think that should be like if that one comes, does that trump Dan's shutout?
No, Dan gets if you get that right, you and Dan each get 3 points.
Okay.
Sounds fair.
Dan needs those points.
Can we have Bobby?
I don't
3
even
points?
care about losing points on that one. I just cannot not make that one because the week I don't make that and they do the shutout, I'm going to have to kill myself.
Well, if they get the
I wouldn't be
shutout,
on
we
the
might
Uncle
actually
Puckers.
just give. So you don't. That's only a 1-pointer. So Tony, if Nico Dawes gets the shutout,
That's
and
a
you
3,
take
yeah.
and you take that the Devils are going to get the shutout, Tony only gets 1 point. You get 6.
Okay. I think that sounds fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
It
going
sounds
with
good to me.
That's totally
It's a good way to jump that ladder, isn't it?
Totally
My
legit.
first prediction, because I'm going to take my VTech Vanacek will only start against Chicago prediction out and say that Connor Bedard will score 2 or more goals against us on Friday.
All right.
Wow.
All right, Bobby, your second prediction.
Eric Holla will have a goal, an assist, and a penalty.
Like in one game?
Over three games.
It's kind of thinking I'd ask for help on that. I was just thinking at first it was over 1 game, and I thought, gee, that would be really hard. 1 game would be a hat trick, I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
But over the week would just be 1 point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go 1 game.
That's
In
one
in
game?
one of the games, he'll have
Okay.
a goal, an assist, and a
shooting
penalty.
threes. Bobby shooting threes.
I like it. Dan, your second prediction. Devils will have a shutout?
Yes, I'm going to take it now.
All right. Tony, your second prediction?
Devils will win the next 3 games.
Ooh, I was going to do that one.
Yeah? All
And
right,
that should
I
be a
like
hat
it.
trick right there, right? I mean,
I think anytime you make 3
prediction
bets
of
for
3 wins is
particular
pretty,
games should be a hat
pretty
trick.
ballsy little move.
I'm okay with that. You guys cool with that?
Yeah, if 2 out of 3 wins is 1 point, then 3 straight should be a hat trick, sure.
Okay. Luke Hughes will get more points in the game, the Canuck game on Saturday, than both his brothers. He will have more
Combined?
points.
Oh,
Not
I like
combined.
that.
No. He will have more points than Jack, and he will have more points than Quinn. not
Either of his
combined.
brothers, not
Yes,
combined.
not
I got
combined. Bobby, your third and final prediction, sir.
Do we know anything about what's happening with Meyer? Like, is it
Other
reasonable
than-
to assume he'll probably play next week? Because it hinges on this big time.
Who the hell knows?
knows?
All right, I'll tell you what. Put the prediction in.
All right.
And if we find out on Wednesday that he's not playing or he's out for any kind of time, or we find out before that, change your prediction.
All right. So then, the line of
Provisional.
Meyer, McLeod, and Mercer will combine for a 6-point total, with all of them factoring into at least 1 point. So in 1 game, those 3 will get 6 total points, and everybody has to factor in at least with 1 point.
Wow.
I want to hear all Bobby's predictions again before I make my next one.
Okay.
Probably will not get any points. Son of a bitch. Always go for that safety net, right?
I think that's a hat trick, right?
I think so.
I would think so, sure.
Yeah.
Shooting for the stars.
That's a hat trick. Dan, your third and final prediction, sir.
The Devils will complete all their wins by 2 or more goals.
Whoa.
And how many wins are you saying?
I'm not saying.
Oh, you're saying, okay. So just if they even just win one, you're saying by 2 or more.
Right.
Okay.
No, that every win they have over the next week.
But if they only win
right. But I'm saying you're not like saying they're going to win all 3 or they're only going to win one. Doesn't matter.
Right.
And the only way then, okay, I got you. So, but you're saying that if they win all 3 of them will be by 2 or more.
And if they win 1, it'll be by 2 or more. If they win 2, it'll be by 2 or more. They're not going to win by only 1.
I like it. I like it.
Okay. Do you really want me to read Bobby's back to you, Tone, before you make your last prediction? Oh, okay. What's your third and final prediction, Tone?
Bobby will not get any points next week. I got to do it, Bobby, because I'm the last 2 kind of.
You son of a bitch.
I kind of wish I would have done it this week when I heard your little buzzers going off.
You missed out.
I should have went with the guaranteed shot.
All right, here we
go. I'm trying to think if there's a steal that I can take, because I have one more. I did have the VTech would only get the start against Chicago, but I'm going to take that one out, and I'm going to say that the Devils will finally this year beat the Capitals, and they will win in the first shootout of the year for this team.
So you're calling a win against the Capitals Wednesday via shootout?
Yes.
That's a hat trick.
I hope you're wrong, because then that makes one of mine wrong. It'll be a 1-goal win.
Yeah. So, all right. So those are the predictions for this week.
A little deeper this week than usual. We got some twists and turns on.
It's getting a little harder, right? Because it's this guy's going to get a goal, this person's going to get a assist.
Yeah, like that's
it's getting hard.
Yeah, that's kind of boring.
And plus, I'm not fucking winning anyway, so I'm just going to pull out whatever I want.
Well, I think you got some good ones.
I'm surprised nobody was going to start maybe making predictions on the coach, because I was real close to that. See if we'll have any kind of coaching moves.
Chris had that once.
I don't feel like we're here yet. He did once, but this week I thought maybe. I don't know. I
think that Lindy Ruff's seat is getting warmer and warmer every single loss that they do, because they're not losing these games. Like, all right, 2 good teams went out. Just one team got just a little bit of an advantage. They score. You lose by a goal, you lose by 2 goals. Whatever. But at least, you're in the game. Everything. That's not how this team is losing. No. I mean, they're getting run out of the building. And, just these collapses. These collapses are unacceptable. And, I mean, I'm putting that on the coach, man. I really am.
I think if we were a perennial contender with real legit shot to, like, win or maybe win again, like back when we were in, like, 99, 2000, 2001, 2003, that kind of thing, this would be more glaring. I think the fact that we're hanging on and we're very close and or in a playoff spot as of this moment, I just don't think that ownership's going to do that yet.
So you're saying Lindy's sneaking under the radar? That's what you're saying. He's not losing
I
bad
think
enough.
I think in part because now the narrative is, okay, maybe we did overachieve a little bit last year, and we're still building towards a team we're supposed to be.
I'm not buying that.
I know. I'm a little done with that too, bud. But I just think that because of where we are, like, we could talk about how bad this loss was and whatever. We can also say, again, they're 11-4 or 5 in the last 15. Overall, it depends on how you look at it as a manager. What do you look at? Do you knee jerk what happened this last couple days? Do you look at 10 days? Do you look at 2 weeks?
He signed a pretty lengthy contract. What was the terms? I forget.
I
never heard specifics.
It's not lengthy. No,
it's like
this year.
3 or 4 years.
No, it's this year and an option for 1. That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
I think Bobby's right, and I think that if he does get let go, it won't be till the end of the season. I don't think that's the way this management does things. I just don't. Like Bobby said, we're kind of hanging there. I think if it does happen, I'm not saying it won't happen. I just don't think it'll happen until the season's wrapped up.
especially at a 3 out of 4 pace wins.
Yeah,
like
I just think it's not a
that might be
chance.
enough to have us limp in the playoffs. But I just wonder about the wisdom of that. Like you said, the way we're losing, we don't look like a playoff team. I don't care if we're winning 3 out of 4.
Not saying it's right. Not saying
but
it's
you're
right.
saying,
just saying I can
but Bobby,
understand why.
like you're saying, what do you look at as far as management? Do you look at the one game? You look at 10 games? No, you look at the whole season. This has been going on since the second game of the year, where they so it's like, where there hasn't been, I get the injuries and all that stuff. And again, it sucked, but we're for the most part healthy. The main guys, of course, we don't know what's going to happen with Meyer, but our main guys are there. They are healthy with the exception of Hamilton. I just think that whatever these breakdowns and the way that they're losing these games, I think that if you're Tom Fitzgerald, you have got to seriously look at this and say, and you got to talk to some of the guys in the locker room. You got to talk to Nico Hischier and stuff. And
maybe you don't want to pull the trigger on blaming Lindy for everything just yet, because when you find out that there's problems, maybe run deeper. Let's say we made a coaching change sooner than later, and they can't do much different with this team. No. Now, like in some ways, that's a way bigger problem, because that means all those pieces you got there are not meshing and nobody can make them work, Like that's a bigger problem. So maybe they're kind of like forestalling that, because if you end up in the affirmative, that's great. And if you have a great coaching option where you feel like, okay, this is good, but just to change coaches because you don't like what Lindy's doing might expose bigger problems that you don't want to hear about right now.
Yeah. It's all very true. And I also think that Tony's right a lot about they're probably not going to pull a trigger on Lindy anytime soon.
Yeah.
I think that Tom Fitzgerald has got to make some moves, and, you have to do those, and you have to see how this team reacts to maybe a couple of new guys and make some trades. I'm just worried that we're going to have too little too late. Like, waiting around till the trade deadline, or maybe we get a new coach or whatever, but we're so far out of it that doesn't matter at that point. And then if we were that far out of it, I don't know if they would, make trades and everything like that. But I just feel like you have to do it now, because
we have guys, Chris, that may never, like Graham Clark. We have guys that we can move, because I don't know if we're going to see them on this team. Do we have space for them? I mean, and what's the value right now? I mean, the last couple of weeks, I don't know, but I know Graham Clark during the preseason, he was a name that you could probably move. So, I mean, there's some guys that we have that we can move. And I think you're right. I think this is where the responsibility does fall in Fitzgerald's part, because before we get to a deadline, we all love Fitzgerald, right? He's done great things with this team, but it's his job now to fix what's broken and give the tools that are needed. And there's definitely tools needed. And that's another thing with Dawes. And, what I said earlier in a way is, it is good to see Dawes right now, because we need to know what we have before it's too late, because this is what we're going to be stuck with right now in the playoffs. I mean, there's no way I feel love my Devils, but right now we're not going to get through the playoffs if we step it over. The way we're playing right now with this roster, with we're going to get eaten up by teams like Boston. We saw, like, tonight, they turned it up in the second period, changed the whole fucking game. It was like in a couple of minute period, you just saw the tone, like, okay, these guys are going to start pushing,
Yeah, they don't look like they can hang when things get tough.
Yeah. So it's Fitzgerald's time now to do something like that. This is where the magic we need, because we're kind of on the ropes a little bit right now.
Big time. And if you go on any kind of, 3 or 4 game skid, you're on the bottom of this division again, and you got to crawl back up. And it takes a lot out of a team, and this team doesn't seem to have that killer instinct. When all things are going good and all the conditions are perfect, this team is fantastic. But you throw a little bit of adversity at them, and they fall apart.
It makes me nervous that we got guys who want to make highlight reels more than anything else. And I don't think that's the case. I think they really do want to bear down and be a team. But I think that whatever's in front of them as individuals, when they come together, that, like you said, when times are easy, let's go score some beautiful goals. But as soon as it gets tough, it's like, well, fuck this game. And that doesn't show you the winning attitude you need to get through the playoffs.
And who's that fall on? We were talking about this last show when you weren't on. Like, we are so inconsistent. Our guys are not, one guy's scoring, the other guy's disappearing. And a couple of days ago, we saw a little bit of hope. We're like, okay, man, we started seeing the gel. Everyone started gelling together. Again tonight, that fell off again. When one guy's showing up, there's two guys who aren't. It's just a pattern this year, and it's it's a bad pattern because it's constant.
Dan, you just said it. Like, they do seem like they have that attitude that when things start going bad, it's I don't even want to play this game anymore. Let's just kind of get out of here. And that is an attitude this team never had. Like, didn't even have it back 2 years ago when they were terrible. They would always fight and always play really hard. And, like you said, it's not a matter that I think that they give up, but I don't think that they make the necessary changes throughout a game to get themselves into a position to win. They keep on trying, like you said, the highlight reel goals and everything like that. Like, when they're not skating, right? When they're not, the effort's not there because they're not up to getting power plays. They're not getting, it's just static. And, the guys are constantly, nobody's crashing the net. Nobody's looking for dirty goals. Nobody stands up for each other. It's just,
when you have to make your own room on the ice, when you have to earn that room because they are just not going to give it to you easy, that's a different story. Yeah. When another team makes the mistake of giving us room, what a deadly team we are.
Yeah,
that's not hockey. Hockey means you're going to play against a team who can be very conscious of the space they give you. That's what playoff hockey is. Yeah. I don't see us playing that way. It's a shame.
This year really reminds me of the importance of a truly balanced team, and I am seriously missing the value and the energy of the fourth line that we had last year and what that brought to this team, what that can do throughout the course of a game when you do need to stop the bleeding or you need a little energy to go out. Those guys were fantastic in their roles. And now you look at a year like now where it's like we were just complimenting the move to put McLeod up with Meyer, right? And that's great because that line was working, is working. Who knows? It's still kind of newish. But in the interim for this year, we haven't really thought about that fourth line at all. Have you watched a game and noticed the fourth line really being the fourth line they were last year?
Funny because you wouldn't think Miles Wood as a subtraction was going to be a thing. It's actually more the fact that, like you said, we're renting out the other parts of that line.
The collective that was that line
exactly
did so much, and only people who truly follow hockey would even recognize that value because there's that stigma, right? Oh, you're a fourth line player, you're getting 4 or 5 minutes a night, whatever. Little more on the Devils, of course, last year, but it just really does illustrate the point of how valuable it is to have that.
Yeah, because it's the hardworking line, and it does help the other lines show up to work because that's what they do. The fourth line is supposed to be your hardworking line, and I honestly feel like that's what we're lacking. I feel like we're lacking, the hard grinded out work.
I like to think that maybe when Lazar comes back, he can help with that a little bit. But, then again, who knows? They had him up on the second line. So I don't know. Real quick, we'll give a little shout out before we get into your stuff that, Bobby, that you put in on an X. And we got a Devil which we'll do actually right after this. Tonight's over-under was 6.5. So we just made it. 8 goals were scored, and to bet on that 6.5 over under, all you have to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code THPN, and new customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the National Hockey League. The crown is yours.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like that crown.
Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. And gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023. All rights reserved.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. So,
indeed.
And the crown is yours, Dan.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Heavy. How heavy
I was in Atlantic City this week, and I was just wondering why we never had a zombie movie set in a casino, because that's like the perfect place for a zombie movie. You know, we've had them in malls, which is just a great fit. You know, it really works culturally because you look around in a real mall, kind of makes you think of zombies anyway. Nothing like a casino. When you just see those, you know, octogenarians just pulling that lever, and you could have a great comedy zombie movie where they're just pulling that lever. Yeah, exactly. They break off to eat some brains, and it's just going to be. That's what I was thinking about.
Let's make an Uncle Pucker zombie movie at Caesars.
That's right. I think that's a good way to go. Maybe we should just do it all guerrilla style. Come in there with cameras and see how long it takes for them to kick us out.
I'm down with that. You guys want to play a game?
I like games.
Let's play a game.
Everybody likes games?
I love games.
Really?
Anybody got a sounder?
Shall we play a game?
Buckle up, boys and girls. It is time for the Devil You Know on the Uncle Pucker New Jersey Devil Podcast.
All right, time for the Devil You Know. This game tonight, it'll be Dan will be giving us clues to a former New Jersey Devil player. Tony, myself, and Bobby get 3 chances to answer. Well, 3 incorrect answers were eliminated. We can ask Dan any question we want about the player. He can or cannot answer it. It's completely up to him. Former Devils you know were Kyle Quincy, Ryan Carter, Nick Palmieri, Bryce Salvador, Rod Pelly, Jason Arnott, and that was all for season 2, actually. So Tony whooped up on everybody in season 1. So Dan, whenever you are ready.
All right, I am ready. We have a former Devil that was born in Madison, Wisconsin. Everybody ring in. No? Okay. He's listed at 6'2", this former Devil. He shoots left. Or shot left. And he's played for 4 NHL teams. One of them, of course, the New Jersey Devils.
It's helpful.
He was drafted in 1987.
Can you tell us who he was drafted by?
He was drafted by his very own Devils.
No, now Tony's got it.
No, not
You
yet.
got it, yeah?
Just kidding. Bud.
Okay.
Drafted as a Devil in 87. His playoff career, I'm not going to tell you which years yet, but it ran a total of 11 years.
That's his professional career, 11 years?
His professional NHL career.
Okay.
Thought I heard you say playoffs. Right. Okay.
Did I say playoffs?
No,
Yeah, you did.
I thought. Yeah. I thought you said
You
playoff
did.
my bad.
career.
This
Is just straight up
No.
NHL service.
NHL career, not playoff career. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah. Over his NHL career, he's played in over 300 games.
Okay.
Not known as a goal scorer, has 7 goals in that time.
Yeah, that's not much.
Did he win a cup with the Devils?
Let's see if he was on that roster. I believe so.
Is it Kevin Dean?
It is Kevin Dean.
Wow.
What? Tony's like freaking amazing. Tony's amazing.
How'd you get this already?
I didn't even get to his coaching career.
What's the clue that tipped you off?
Is Kevin Dean, he played for what, 7 seasons or 8 seasons? You said only had 7 goals. Drafted by the Devils in 87. How many guys from the 87 team? What, Shanahan, I believe? Not Shanahan. What's it had? 87 team. There wasn't many guys that made it out of that.
He didn't
roster.
play in 87, though. He played in
No, but he was
91.
drafted in 87, you said.
I think you're just in my head. Yeah. No, you're right. He's an 1987 draft pick, but he didn't play till 91 with the big club. He did win a Calder Cup with the Albany River Rats same year the Devils won the cup. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And a couple other little factoids on him. He's currently an assistant coach with the Bruins, which is why I chose him.
Very good.
And he started his coaching career with the Devils, even though he played for 3 other teams after he left us.
That was a good one. Good guess, Tone. Nice.
Yeah, man. His dominance continues.
All right, Bob. How about we finish up
amazing
with
at this.
your question that you posed up on X and got a couple of responses to.
So, just for context, again, last night in the show, we talked about completely hypothetical. Given the season ends right now, we haven't won anything yet. You had a choice. You can either sign to Foley or Mercer for identical 2-year contracts, and that's it. That's the service you get from them. Other guy walks completely the other way, and we just talked about it amongst ourselves. So,
well, Dan didn't get the answer. So who would you go with, Dan?
That's a tough call. It really is. I like that question because, especially when you put the 2-year thing on it,
right?
Boy, I really love what I've seen from Toffoli. I mean, he looks like he's the real deal here with this. Mercer, up until this year, I think it'd be crazy to bet against him. That was one of those things we were saying last year. No matter what, we all want Meyer, but we're not giving up Mercer for him.
Right.
And I think we were right to call that. This year, if we had to make that Meyer call again, I don't know, man. He's not having the year that he had last year.
Bob, you want to throw your stat out?
That's tough. Yeah, what's your stat?
About Mercer and the points last year to this year?
So surprisingly, what happened is in basically for the last 3 years at the 33 game mark, he is at the exact same amount of points as he was last year as well. So as quiet as it was.
It is
for the
because I don't feel like he's had the same impact this year. I mean, am I alone in that?
And it was even, if I recall, I don't have the stat up now, but it was almost identical too. Like as far as the number of goals and assists, it only flip flopped a couple of points each way. Yeah. So last year was his record-setting year for him. He's on that same pace, which was obvious, which like
happened very sneakily because I was thinking almost identical to what you were thinking, Dan. Now,
and as Dan answers it, the important thing here to kind of what we're trying to put in here is that, like all other things being solved, we haven't won the cup. Right, we got this core. You got 2 years. You're trying to win the cup. Where are you going?
I know. If I felt like the question was framed so that after 2 years you will have neither of those guys, then I might go with Toffoli. But because I feel like Mercer could be even more of a franchise guy, I'm kind of leaning towards him. I just don't feel good about it.
I had said for the 2 years I would go with Toffoli. If it was any kind of term, I would definitely take Mercer.
That's where I'm at too. Yeah, but Tony, it depends on the question.
The same?
Yeah, Tony agreed too. So what did
I went with Mercer all the way, straight up, either way.
So some of the question is not necessarily are we going to not have the guy after 2 years? We might.
I mean, in this context, I was really just thinking, hey, if next year if they're both free agents and you can only have one, what would it be? I put the 2 years on it just to make it a little more thought provoking. But it just seems like we got 13 responses quickly on X. It seems it's heavily favored for Mercer. We got Mercer. A couple people that didn't really listen to the question because they said good chance we'll sign both if we can solve our own goaltending issues. It changes after 6 years. I get that. Mercer all day. Mercer because he's younger and faster. Cap's supposed to go up, so we could do both. Mercer regardless of the scenario. Jack of Heart, he does a lot of stuff on X. He said Mercer being a lot more to the table, if not putting up points. I believe he brings a lot more. Yeah. So maybe he means in a return that we can get for him then, because he says if he's not putting up points. So I don't quite get.
I think what he means is and he does other things in the game to get you points that are important.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think he means.
We got another person.
The water bottles. He does something
that he wouldn't sign for less than 4 years. But again, the context here is the question. Al Davis, I go Mercer. I like the cut of his jib. That's nice. That's a tough one to answer. It does change. Toffoli for 2 years. Mercer, if we're looking at a 6-year window, no-brainer, Mercer either way. And then the final one is Mercer. So overwhelmingly, most people would just say Mercer.
I don't think it's as easy as that, but
it's not as easy as that. And I think Chris might have an interesting read.
Well, Tim Wood wrote us an email, and he writes, "Dear Puckers, I'm here to take umbrage with the Toffoli versus Mercer scenario and the preposterous notion that the two are even comparable. The correct answer is Mercer 10 times out of 11.
I think this guy pronounces it comparable.
Especially when the Vikings play on Sunday," he writes. Toffoli is a one-trick pony, can barely skate, and is only valuable because he seems nice and gives great uncle vibes, but all he is a shot. I love him, but we have a guy who, he writes checks notes, is buried on the fourth line that can do this too. He's talking about Holtz. Yeah. Mercer is a gorgeous Labrador retriever, knows how to fish, builds stuff with old hockey sticks, and is from a magical wonderland. He plays a full 200-foot game, is on the number 1 penalty kill unit, number 2 power play unit, has immaculate hair, and he probably spends upwards of $1,000 a month on conditioner. Oh, and by the way, my dear Pucker friends, he also has a shot as evidenced by the one-timer laser beam he unleashed against the Blue Jackets and that short side top shelf goal against Ottawa that only a dog can pull off. He is on pace for similar numbers of goals as Toffoli as well, and hasn't missed a game, nor has he activated his dental plan for that missing tooth in 4 years.
That's worth something.
Thank you very much, Tim. That was one of the best.
He's a wordsmith. I love Tim. That was one of the best
for the
responses
record,
I've ever heard.
He might have swung me to Mercer. Tim Wood might have completely swung me over to Mercer.
Who to vote for? I might just listen to him because he has such a way with words.
Was based off of the show last night. So kudos to Tim. Thank you for dropping in on that after listening to the show. The rest of these were from the X Post, but now they have an opportunity to go listen to both shows. So, which would be one more show than Dan's going to listen to. So that's a really good thing.
I might listen to it at some point.
Give us a download, buddy.
Dan, have you ever listened to one of our shows?
Yeah, of course, all the time.
Oh, okay. See,
he's the one you're on.
He's never listened to one of our shows.
I mean, I think I have.
I don't think you have.
I might have.
Some of it's funny shit, man.
Still going with no. All right. Well, anything else you guys want? One quick New Year's resolution of this team, of what you want to see turned around. You think this team needs to do? What's a New Year's resolution? Do you have anything? If you guys want, I'll go first. Before we started this game tonight, we were in -1 in goal differential. After this game tonight, now we are -5 goal differential. So I want to see this team turn around this goal differential. They need to start putting the puck in and making sure that the puck does not go into their net.
I was going to mention that last night, how it's been slowly going in the right direction there.
That is a recipe for success, Chris. Yeah. That's a good call.
Well,
when you score more than the other team.
Well, but that's the object, right? Like, I'm new to this. Like, you're supposed to do that, right? Yeah, and that would lead to more wins.
Right. Exactly.
Makes sense.
And it's like a caveat thing. Like, you could have just said score more goals, but that doesn't mean more wins if you're giving up a lot of goals.
Right.
You said goal differential has to improve.
Yes.
And that's like foolproof.
Yes.
I always love when they have those intermission interviews, and it's always what do you got to do different? And it's always the exact same. We need to put the puck in the net. It's like it's always the exact same answer. I mean, there's no.
I like the hockey.
It's obvious.
Do you guys all watch the MSG feed for the Devil games?
Whenever I can.
Yeah. Okay, so they I absolutely fucking hate commercials more than anything. And there are some this year that they play almost on repeat on the MSG network that I seriously...
They only have 4 sponsors, which is 3 more than us, but
not just the Devils commercials. I'm talking about just they keep on playing that Kevin Hart credit one commercial.
Oh my God.
Talk about cash backing. We ain't talking about practice, that one. I want to put my head in a fucking oven every time I hear that friggin' commercial.
I just want to give Kevin Hart another fast car and just say, go with it.
See, I get it worse than you guys because when I watch the feeds, the hockey feeds, all I get is the same commercial over and over. So it's one commercial they pull. I don't get to watch the local commercials. Now, if I watch NFL games, Chris, you notice you're going to a lot of times you see the commercials for that, whatever that broadcast is.
Yeah,
that's kind of fun, right?
Yeah, when I watch the Devils games, I always
just
looking
inside somebody else's house
over and over on repeat. Yeah. There's nothing else but one commercial they play the whole time, trying to sell you some kind of app.
Horrible.
Yeah, what commercial was it tonight?
Oh, for us, it's always the same thing. It's always some ESPN app they're trying to sell or some shit.
Okay.
And but it's always the same one. There's no different commercials, and it just repeats.
I just wish it was like Lester Glenn Honda or something like some really local bullshit that you have to watch in Lithuania.
You're watching the game on the couch at 4 a.m, and they're repeating the same commercial. You almost get hypnotized where you want to pass out. You gotta stand up and walk around and shit. It's
what's your New Year's resolution, Tone, for this team?
Just consistency, man. I don't have much. I just want to see a team I want to see a little bit more of the team we had from last year. And obviously, as I always say, we definitely need more balls on this team because not Kevin balls, but balls, because if we don't get it, man, it's going to be a short postseason if we get in there, and a long regular season.
If things don't change, Tone, I agree. Like, we're not getting into the playoffs if things don't change. You can't be this inconsistent.
Rangers won again tonight too, right? I think
they were up 2-0 last time I saw. How about you, Dan?
There was a zombie movie, by the way, in Vegas. Just so you know, 2021. I just saw.
No, was that God. The Dawn of the Dead? The one
Army of the Dead or something.
Army of the Dead. Yeah,
that was in Vegas. Oh, okay, cool. That actually makes a lot of sense.
So,
I think for this team, it's similar to consistency. I want them to find a combination of grit and professionalism, like just to look around the room and get the job done with the pieces they have, to not shrink when things get tough. And I know that's a whole lot of everywhere, but if I could distill it down to two things, it'd be the grit / professionalism that this team needs. If they could do that, I mean, because I think that when we all talk about like, we need goaltending, we need a coaching move, we need a defenseman, and I feel like all those things might help, but it goes deeper, and that's what the deeper I'm looking for, and those things might help us get that. I'm not saying don't do those things, but that grit, that professionalism to pick yourself up after a shaky period and go on.
You guys want to hear some scores from tonight really fast?
Sure.
Sabres over Blue Jackets 3-2. Penguins over the Blues 4-2. Hurricanes over the Leafs 3-2. Panthers again 4-1 over the Canadiens. Obviously, we know the score tonight for our game. Rangers 5-1 over the Lightning. Predators 3-2 over the Capitals. And the Edmonton game right now, I believe, is 2-0 Edmonton.
You know what I think when I hear these scores is like we're in the part of the season now that like you can expect what you get night after night. Like you got to like nothing there sounded that surprising. Like the surprises are going to be fewer and fewer as you get to the end.
I mean, literally the Rangers have like actually just been helping us out.
Yeah,
and the Rangers are
against tonight, like we needed that.
Legit this year. I mean, they're a tough team this year, and
the Washington losing helps us. But Bob, your resolution before we wrap it up.
Yeah, so I kind of just thought that I was going to get these three pillars from you guys. I thought that Dan was going to have a resolution for goaltending, Chris for a defenseman, and Tony for grit and physicality. You guys all kind of touched on that a little bit, so I tried to make mine a little bit different. Tonight's game notwithstanding, I'd like to see the narrative flipped a little bit on that first goal. I think that if they can kind of change that up and be the team that gets the first goal a little more, that might go a long way, keep them from chasing the game all the time. And more than that, if they're doing that, then typically speaking, they're getting better starts and they're playing better overall. So to me, that's a big resolution for them. Just try to come out, all legs and not whatever this is. And again, odd one tonight, right? Because we get two and then they shit the bed on a back-to-back. But normally we don't get the first. We know that. And I just think it would help this team a lot.
Well, that's the thing, like we've said it a lot, and I'm sure we're probably going to say it right up until the end of the season, is just the thing that is so maddening about this team is just the freaking, like, again, not just inconsistency. Yeah, the inconsistency, the Jekyll and Hyde. Look at these two games from last night to this night. They looked like two different teams. Two completely different teams. Like you said, professionalism, Dan. Like that is key. Like, be workmanlike. It's okay to win a game 3-1 or 3-2.
Yeah.
And like you said,
you're on the road too. Go play a boring game.
You have a 2-goal lead on the road.
I don't care.
A 2-goal lead on the road, and you should exactly be sitting back. Why are we not playing a defensive system? Like, why are we
50 times a night? I don't care. Just play professional workman-like games.
Every other fucking team does it.
Yes.
Every other good team does it, and we don't. Well, hopefully 2024 will bring us some good results. Maybe this team will finally figure it out at some point. Or maybe we're just going to be doing these shows like this where one day we're happier than can be and the next day we're ready to just blow the whole thing up. It's really, really frustrating, but
it is a theme this year.
It sure is. But wherever you guys are checking us out, please give us a like, a subscription, 5-star review, positive comment, download, helps us out in promoting the show. And to all of our listeners, please have a very safe and happy new year. We will be back most likely before the Washington game, and we will talk a little bit about that and some other shit. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, that's it, man.
No, we're good.
New Year's.
All right.
So,
Happy
yeah,
New Year,
to
everybody.
everyone.
For
Yeah.
Tony, Dan, Bobby, I am Chris. We are the Uncle Puckers. We'll see you when we see you.
Poke is out.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
That's bye-byes in the end.
It's just never not funny.
I find myself saying it, leaving stores and shit.
I love when I'm not
Bye-bye.
on. I love when I'm not on and you guys do it. Oh, it's just not the same.
You have to.
Give me a heart thump.
It's over.
Oh, boy.
Oh, if you ever die, we're going to just, like, keep that on record.